I looked at my watch and saw that it was 11 p.m. Who was here this late? I removed the covers and went toward my bedroom door. I opened them in time to hear my brother's voice. "Logan?" he said. "What are you doing here? Where is she? Where is Emma?" Logan asked nervously. His voice was the most amazing sound I have ever heard. It was like music to my ears. What was wrong with me? It never sounded like that before. It must have been because I was tired, but he sounded cold, rushed. I didn't know why he was asking for me, but I had a feeling that I was in trouble. But I didn't do anything wrong. "Emma?" my brother asked. "She is sleeping. Why?" I could hear surprise and confusion in his voice. I started walking toward the stairs and was instantly hit with the most amazing smell, pine needles, and snow. It smelled like a winter forest. "Mate!" Eliza screamed in my head. "What?" I asked and froze. "It is Logan, Emma. He is our mate." "Go to him," Eliza said, excited. "Logan. The Alpha. He is my mate. I am a Luna." I had a million questions in my head. My feet started moving against my will. It was like something was pulling me downstairs. Well, not something. The mate bond. "Wake her up," Logan growled. "Now." He sounded mad. Why was he mad? "I am awake," I said, and started walking down the stairs. I stopped in the middle to look at Logan. Everything shifted when I looked into his eyes. He was now the center of my world. He was everything. I felt this incredible need to touch him, to be in his arms. I wanted to run to him, but I stopped myself when I saw how cold his stare was. What was going on? "Logan?" My brother called him. "She is my mate," Logan said through his teeth. My brother gasped and looked up at me. I nodded and looked back at Logan. He was standing there looking at me with a cold expression on his face. His fists were clenched and his posture was rigid. He didn't want me. That's why he was so angry. I was not good enough to be his Luna, Emma. Andrew called my name. "Go to your room now." He must have seen how angry Logan was and wanted to talk to him about this. I turned away and walked back upstairs, but there was no way I was going back into my room. I wanted to hear what Logan would say. I had a feeling I knew, though. I heard them walking to the kitchen, and I sat at the top of the stairs. I would be able to hear them talk, and hopefully they would be focused on their conversation and would not be able to hear or sense me. I just had to be very quiet. I hugged my knees and waited. "Talk." My brother said coldly, "How did you know before you even saw her?" "I don't know," Logan sighed. "I could sense and smell her. It happened about an hour ago. At first, I thought I was going crazy, but then I decided to follow that smell. I knew for sure when I came closer to your house." "Leon started going crazy. That is weird," my brother said. "Mates usually know when they see each other. They can't sense it before." "I know, but I did," Logan growled. My brother sighed. "Why are you angry? She can't be my Luna, Andrew," Logan said. My heart broke. I hugged my knees even tighter. I felt warm tears running down my cheeks. "Nothing hurts like your mate's rejection." "What? Why?" my brother asked angrily. "She is a child," Logan said. "She is not strong enough to be a Luna. I need someone stronger." "You are kidding me, right?" my brother yelled. "You are going to throw away Goddess's gift because you don't think she is strong enough." "It is for the pack," Logan said calmly. "You know our pack needs strong leadership, especially now that rogues are attacking even more frequently. Alpha is always stronger when he has his Luna by his side." My brother growled. "He is." "And I will have my Luna," Logan said. I am thinking about taking Sienna as my chosen mate. My heart stopped beating. He was choosing another she-wolf instead of me. And not just any wolf, Sienna. She wanted to get rid of me. And she will. She will become a Luna, and she will exile me from my pack. Maybe she will even kill me when she finds out I am Logan's true mate. Why didn't you already do that if you think she will be a great Luna? My brother asked angrily. I wanted to wait for my true mate. Logan answered, to see if I was gifted with a strong she-wolf. But now that I see that is not the case, I can freely choose somebody else. I can't believe this. My brother said quietly, you know, I am right, Andrew. Logan said. You know that you, me, and Sienna will be great leaders, and the pack will benefit greatly from our leadership. We can't do that with your sister. She is only 18. My brother said nothing, and I think he agreed with Logan. He thought that I was not strong. I didn't think my heart could break even more. I've heard enough. I got up and walked to my room. My heart was breaking into a million tiny pieces. I didn't think that I would ever be able to put it back together, and he hasn't officially rejected me yet. I didn't know how I would survive when he does. Mates can reject each other. It doesn't break the bond, though. Nothing does. It is only words, but it lets you know that your mate doesn't want you, and it is horrible. The bond is alive, but you can't do anything about it. Being exiled by Sienna and becoming a rogue suddenly didn't sound so bad. It was better than staying here, watching them together. It would kill me slowly. Eliza? I called my wolf. Are you okay? No. Emma, she whined. I am in pain. I know, I said. I am sorry. His wolf wants us, she whined. Leon wants us. It is Logan who is fighting the bond. I didn't respond, and I felt her going further back in my mind. I didn't think I would hear from her again tonight. She needed to heal. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't see my brother. I couldn't see him. I quickly put on my tights, a hoodie, and sneakers. I grabbed a jacket from my wardrobe and opened my window. My room was on the second floor, but there was a roof just underneath it. I always sneaked out this way when my brother forbade me from going out with Amy. He never caught me. I hoped that tonight would be the same. I carefully climbed out onto the roof and made my way down. I had to be really careful not to make any noise. I was in a house with an alpha and a beta werewolf. Their hearing is even better than other werewolves. I just hoped they were still talking and focused on their conversation. I climbed down and started walking toward the forest. There was a cave nearby, where Amy, Jake, and I always went to hang out when we wanted to be alone. I needed to go there and think. I wanted to reject her, on the spot, but when I saw her standing there on the stairs, I couldn't do it. I couldn't say those words. I saw that she was happy when she looked at me. She wanted to go to me, but she saw my cold stare and she stopped herself. Goddess. She is beautiful. I always thought that she was pretty and hot, but now that she is my mate, she is even more beautiful than before. She smelled like strawberries and watermelon. Her long brown hair was falling freely down her back, and her blue eyes were an ocean I want to swim in. Her lips were perfect. Her small body was perfect. Every curve was made for me. I just wanted to touch her. I clenched my fists to stop myself. I shut Leon out completely, because he would kill me for what I was about to do. He was so happy when we smelled her. I don't want him to see this. I will deal with him later. I was relieved when Andrew told her to go upstairs. I will be able to think clearly now that she is not here. I could tell Andrew was not happy with my explanation, but he knows I am right. He knows that the pack always comes first, and his sister is a child. She just shifted today. She can't control her wolf properly, and she can't fight in wolf form. The rogues would use her against me, and that would ruin the pack. I needed a strong Luna. Sienna would be a great Luna, She is strong and kind. Our pack would benefit from having her as a Luna. Andrew. I called him after he didn't respond. Fuck, he muttered. You are right. Sienna is strong and she would be a great Luna, but that doesn't mean my sister couldn't get stronger. It doesn't, I agreed. But we don't have the time to train her, to make her stronger. Rogues would use her as a liability against me, and the pack would suffer. You know I am right. He nodded, and ran his hand through his hair. Do you want to tell her now? He asked me. I nodded. Yes, it doesn't make sense to wait. Fine, he said. I will go get her. I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself. I couldn't get distracted by the bond, by her. I needed to do this, for my father and for my pack. It will not sever the bond. Nothing does. I will still feel her. She will still be my mate, but I will be free to make Sienna my Luna. Fuck! I heard Andrew yell and I immediately ran upstairs. Her smell was so intoxicating up here. I couldn't help but to breathe it in deeply. What happened? I asked Andrew. He left her room. But she wasn't with him. She left, he growled. I froze and my heart started beating painfully. She left. She probably heard us and left. What if something happened to her? I couldn't let that happen. I couldn't live without her. Leon? I called my wolf. Can you feel our mate's wolf? Is she okay? He growled at me. Her wolf is in pain. She retracted far back in mate's mind. I can't feel her. Fuck. You are a complete fucker, Logan. Leon growled. Mate is perfect and strong. You will be sorry for what you did. I didn't respond, and I pushed him to the back of my mind. I didn't need that now. He is an animal. He reacts purely on instinct, and his instinct is to get his mate. I have to be the one to think rationally and think about our pack. Andrew ran past me and went downstairs. He grabbed his jacket and ran through the front door. I followed him in a daze. Come on, Logan, he growled. Follow her scent. Where did she go? I focused on him and did what he told me to do. Her scent was the strongest underneath her bedroom window, and it continued toward the forest. Shit, Andrew muttered. We hurried towards the forest, and I told him where to go based on the intensity of her scent. It wasn't hard to follow her, so it couldn't be long since she walked this path. Suddenly, her scent just stopped. I couldn't smell her anymore. It was like she just disappeared. My heart stopped beating. What's wrong? Andrew asked. I can't smell her anymore, I said quietly. The smell is completely gone. Fuck, he yelled. She used masking spray. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath to calm myself. She is okay. I would have felt if something happened to her. Emma? Andrew yelled. Leon. I called my wolf. I know you are mad at me, but I need you to try and talk to her wolf. Tell her to come back. I will, he growled, but not because of you. I want mate to be safe. Leon will try to talk to her wolf, I told Andrew. If something happens to her, I will kill you. Alpha. Or not, he growled at me. He was the only one who can say something like that to me. If he wasn't my best friend, he would be dead already. She is okay, Andrew, I said. I would feel if something happened to her. What if she decided to leave the pack, huh? He growled. To become a rogue because she heard her mate, the one person who should love her unconditionally, say that she is not strong enough to be his mate and Luna. I didn't do that. Not yet anyway, a voice said from the forest. Andrew and I turned towards the sound. Emma leaned against the tree. I let out a breath I had been holding. She is okay. She was wearing tights that let me see her legs perfectly. Her face was even more beautiful than it was back at the house. How is it possible for someone to become even more beautiful in a matter of minutes? I had to use all my strength not to go to her and make her mine. If I was a regular wolf and not an alpha, I don't think I would be able to do that. Andrew ran towards her and hugged her. I got jealous. I wanted to do that, but I knew I couldn't. I had to be strong. Goddess, Emma, Andrew yelled. Don't ever do that again. She didn't hug him back. She stepped away from him and looked at me. You are here to reject me, right? She said quietly. Come on, do it. Let's get this over with. Andrew and I shared a confused look. How is she so calm? So strong? I looked back at her, and she was staring at me with her head held high. I took a deep breath and walked closer to her. You know why I have to do this. I do. She nodded. I heard everything. I nodded and ran my hand through my hair. Every part of me was screaming at me not to do this. Leon clawed his way to the front of my mind to see his mate, and he was growling and whining. I didn't want to do this. I wanted her, but I had to. For my pack, I took a deep breath and looked directly into her wonderful eyes. I, Logan Carter, Alpha of the Crescent Moon Pack, reject you. Emma Parker of the Crescent Moon Pack. I could feel my heart breaking. Leon was howling inside me, and I could feel his pain. She was looking right at me, and I could see the pain in her eyes, but she refused to show it. Most wolves fall to their knees from pain. I wanted to fall to my knees and claw at my chest. But she didn't. She was standing there with her head held high. She took a deep breath and closed her wonderful eyes. I, Emma Parker, of the Crescent Moon Pack, accept your rejection. I closed my eyes and felt tears running down my cheek. When I opened them, she was gone. The bond was still here. Nothing has changed. I felt the same way toward her. I still wanted her, but I just opened the door for me to mate with another she-wolf. I never thought I could feel this much pain and survive. My whole body is trembling, and my soul is in pieces. There is a huge hole in my heart, and I don't think I will ever be able to fix it. My mate doesn't want me. I am not good enough. My brother thinks I am weak. My mate rejected me. He will have a new Luna, and I will have to look at them every day. I don't know how I came home. I don't remember the path. Pain clouded my vision. I left Logan and Andrew in the forest, and I just started running away. I couldn't go back to the cave. I didn't want them to find it. It would mean that I wouldn't be safe there anymore. We always used masking spray before coming into the cave, but Andrew and Logan came close to finding it. I guess it was because of the mate bond. Logan could smell me better. I started walking to my room. I shut the door and locked it. I didn't want to see my brother. I didn't want to talk to him. I wanted to be alone. I laid on my bed and stared at the ceiling. I just wished I could feel numb. Not happy. I didn't think I would ever be happy again. The best I could have hoped for was numbness. Maybe I would be able to achieve that. Maybe the pain would burn through my body tonight, and in the morning there would be nothing left but numbness. Like poison, it burns, destroys, and leaves. I heard my brother opening the back door and running upstairs. He tried to open my bedroom door. Emma, he called me. Emma, open the door, please. I stayed silent. I didn't want to talk to him. Emma, please, he said. Let me explain. There is nothing to explain. I was a weak, small she-wolf who could never be good enough to be a Luna. Or Logan's mate. Andrew tried to talk to me a few more times, but he gave up when I refused to answer. I heard him sigh and walk away. I continued to stare at the ceiling. What a way to end a birthday. My day started full of excitement, love and new beginnings, only to end in pain and misery. I never thought it would happen like this. I stayed up all night staring at the ceiling and wishing the pain would go away. It sort of worked. By the time I was supposed to get up and go get breakfast, the pain was bearable. Maybe I could tell that a small part of me was numb. That was a start. I heard my brother wake up. He walked downstairs to the kitchen and started making breakfast. Half an hour later, I heard Sienna coming. A little while after, Logan arrived as well. It was tradition for them. They always met at our house, had breakfast, and then they went and done their alpha and beta duties. Sienna just went around being a bitch to everybody. But soon she would have Luna's duties. I looked at my watch and saw that I had to be at the training ground in an hour. I decided to get ready and get there early. I couldn't stand being in the same house as them. I got up and hopped in the shower. I quickly got dressed and tied my hair in a ponytail. I looked in the mirror and my lack of sleep was clearly visible on my face. I sighed and unlocked my bedroom door. I decided to leave through the back door, so I didn't have to see anybody. But my brother heard me. Emma. He called me and came running from the kitchen. I stared at him blankly. Where are you going? He asked me. Training grounds. I said quietly. It is early, he said, and Jacob is not here yet. There was a loud growl in the kitchen. Logan. I ignored it and put my focus back on my brother. I want to get there early today. Oh, okay. My brother said nervously, but you didn't eat anything. I am not hungry. I said and walked through the door. I closed them before he could say anything. I walked over to the training grounds and I saw that Jake was already there. He saw me and gave me a confused look. Emma. What are you doing here? I was just about to go get you, he told me. Before I could say anything, he noticed how tired I looked. Emma, he asked, worried, what happened? I am fine, I said quietly. I couldn't sleep. Why? Beautiful, he asked and wrapped me in his arms. Goddess. Why couldn't he be my mate? I found my mate, I whispered in his arms. I felt him tense, and he pulled away from me to look me in the eyes. He left his hands on my shoulders, holding me tightly. Who is it? He asked me. And why are you so sad? I couldn't answer him. Those words didn't want to leave my mouth. I looked down at my feet. Did he? He started talking, but he stopped himself. I looked back up at him and nodded. His eyes widened. Oh my goddess, I am so sorry, beautiful. You don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. I smiled slightly inside. Well, I guess it had to happen like that. Who is he? He asked me. Not now, Jake, I said. We will talk after training. He nodded and wrapped me in a hug again. He kissed my forehead and walked over to his training ground. My whole training session sucked. I was so tired and distracted that I got a nice ass whopping. By the end, I was covered in bruises and cuts. Amy walked over to me with a frown on her face. Emmy, you suck today. What happened? Why were you so distracted? I will tell you at the diner, Amy, I said. I need to go home and take a hot shower. Okay, she said, eyeing me up and down. Are you sure you are okay? I nodded and walked away. I just hoped that my brother wasn't home. I didn't want him to see me like this. It would only add to his belief that I was weak. I was lucky. He was out. But a monster waited for me at my house, Sienna. She was leaning on the kitchen counter when I walked in. She eyed me up and down and smiled wickedly. Well, if it isn't the little rejected mate, she said, smirking. You know, I always wanted to see the face of a little bitch whose Luna title I would take away, but the fact that it is you only makes it better. I rolled my eyes and started walking upstairs. She ran after me and grabbed my hand, turning me around. Listen here, you little bitch, she spat in my face. I am your Luna, and you will not roll your eyes at me. My Luna is Gloria. You are just a really bad replacement. I spat back. She slapped me hard, and I fell on the floor. I should have seen that coming. She stepped on my arm with her heel. It hurt like hell, but I didn't want to give her the pleasure of screaming. I looked up at her with a murderous look on my face. I can't wait for Logan to mark me as his. I will kill you and make it look like you ran away to be a rogue, she said quietly, and walked away. I slowly got up and walked upstairs to my room. My life would be a living hell until Sienna finally ended me. I was sure she would make sure to torture and torment me whenever she had a chance to. Even though Logan rejected me, she still saw me as a treat. The heroine is currently facing a difficult situation and needs your support. Please leave your words of encouragement for her in the comments section. Who the hell is this Jacob guy? It has been bugging me since this morning. I mean, I know that he is one of my best warriors, and he is Emma's friend. But why is he so attentive to my mate? She is not yours anymore. Leon growled. You rejected her, remember? I ignored him. He's been doing that the whole morning. He has been reminding me of what I did and pushing me away. I called my head of patrol in my office. I will find out everything I can about this Jacob guy. He was quick. He got to my office in a matter of minutes. Alpha, he addressed me. You wanted to see me. Yes, I said, and sat at my desk. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Lewis. It wasn't a problem, he said, and smiled. What can I do for you, Alpha? What can you tell me about a warrior named Jacob? I asked. Jacob Walters? He asked. I nodded and waited for him to go on. Well, he is an amazing young man, he said. One of our best warriors. He is strong, a very quick learner, and the other wolves love him. Why? Is there a problem? Number, I said, and shook my head. No problem, Lewis. I just noticed him in training and saw potential in him. Oh yes. He smiled brightly. There is a lot of potential in him. He is one of my best. I could tell Lewis was proud of him. Does he have a mate? I asked, trying to sound indifferent. Number, he said, shaking his head. But there is a rumor he would like to take a chosen one. He's been in love with this girl forever. Most of my boys are, to tell you the truth. He laughed, and I clenched my fists. If he was talking about Emma, I would kill somebody. Who is that girl? Emma Parker, he said. Your Beta's sister. I saw red. I clenched my fists and growled. She is mine. Lewis looked at me with a shocked expression. On his face, I tried to pull myself together. Thank you, Lewis. You can leave, I said through my teeth. He got up quickly, clearly afraid of me, and left my office in a hurry. As soon as I heard him leave the pack house, I put my fist through the wall. Fuck. Why are you angry, Logan? Leon sneered. You rejected her. Did you really think no other wolves would want her? She is beautiful and perfect, of course they want her. And now you get to watch another wolf have her while you suffer with that bitch Sienna. Shut the hell up, Leon, I growled at my wolf. You are smirking like you won't be watching her be with another just like me. Yes, but I get to shut you out and hurt you just like you did to me. He growled back. I will not watch that bitch Sienna be our mate, and Luna, that place belongs to Emma. Sienna is my friend. I spat back at him. She is the worst person ever, he said. Asher thinks so as well. You and Andrew are the only blind ones. Our fight was interrupted when Andrew walked into my office. What the hell happened? He asked, looking at the hole in my wall. Did you know that Jacob wants your sister to be his chosen mate? I asked angrily. He sighed and sat on the couch. Yes, I did. We talked about it, I growled. What did you tell him? I told him to give her a chance to meet her true mate, he said calmly. Now that she has and you rejected her, I don't have a problem with him asking her. I growled loudly and walked over to him. He will not do that. I don't think you have a choice, Logan, he said, looking up at me. You didn't want her, he does. I whined and ran my hand through my hair. I couldn't do anything about that. I had chosen a different mate. She should have an opportunity to do the same. But it would kill me. Looking at another man, touching what's mine, it would definitely kill me. There was another rogue attack, Andrew said, pulling me away from my thoughts. What? Where? I turned to him. South border, he said. Our patrol took care of it pretty quickly. Good, I sighed. It has been happening more often. Any word from other alphas? He asked. I shook my head. No, but Alpha Drake said he would call soon. We have been in touch with other alphas whose packs are frequently attacked by the rogues. We have been trying to figure out what the Rogue King wants. We didn't make any progress. Unfortunately, any rogue wolf who was captured refused to talk, even when tortured. We couldn't get them to talk. But I hope Alpha Drake will give me some good news soon. We have to get to the bottom of this, soon. Andrew sighed. We can't fight them if we don't know what they want. We will, I said, and sat back down at my desk. Do you want to go grab something to eat? Andrew asked me. We could go to that diner that has those amazing burgers. I nodded. I needed to eat something. I haven't slept much and my whole body hurt like somebody beat me up good. As of a few minutes ago, my hand started throbbing. I guess punching a wall hurts more than I thought it would, but it was okay, it would stop soon. We were wolves heal really quickly. On our way out of the pack house, we ran into Sienna. She gave us a warm smile and kissed me on my cheek. Hello, mate, she said and winked at me. Hello, Sienna? I smiled. We are going to the diner to eat something. Do you want to go with us? Sure, she said, and smiled brightly. Sienna would be a good mate. She was smart, pretty, and kind, and she was a good fuck. I had to admit, she would be a great Luna. When we got close to the diner, I was hit by the most amazing smell, strawberries and watermelon. Emma, she was inside. As soon as I got inside, my eyes searched for her. I found her sitting in a booth with her friends, Amy and Jacob, and he had his arm around her. I let go of Sienna and clenched my fists. I growled quietly. Sienna yanked on my hand, and I looked at her, irritated. She is not your mate anymore, Logan, she said angrily. I am. Before I could respond, I heard Andrew gasp. I followed his gaze and saw that he was looking at Emma. Why did he gasp? I looked closer and saw that she was covered in bruises and scrapes. I ran towards her and grabbed her upper arm. That fucker Jacob immediately let go of her. Tingles spread through my body. That was the first time I touched her since we found out we were mates. It was the most pleasurable feeling in the world. I could only imagine what it would feel like to kiss her, or be inside her. Fuck. Logan, stop thinking about this. Focus. What happened to you? I growled. I heard Andrew beside me. Emma, what happened to your hand? I looked at her hand and saw that it was severely bruised, like somebody had stepped on it. She glanced towards Sienna, and I could swear I saw fear in her eyes. Why was she afraid of Sienna? She looked back at us and pulled her arm from my grip. I immediately felt cold and empty. I had a rough training session, she said quietly and looked down. This is what I thought when I said she wasn't strong enough. If she was attacked by a rogue, she wouldn't be able to defend herself. But that didn't mean that I didn't want to kill the fucker who touched and hurt what belongs to me. You need to be more careful, Andrew said quietly. You mean stronger? She asked and looked at us. When we didn't respond, she sighed and looked down. I am with my friends, she said. I will see you at home, Andrew. Andrew nodded reluctantly and pulled me to our booth. I didn't want to leave her, but I had to. I couldn't take my eyes off of her the entire time we were there. I could see Sienna was pissed, but I couldn't care less. My mate was with another male. I had to keep an eye on her. You rejected her, Leon growled, and you are with another female. I ignored him completely and continued to stare at her. Goddess, she was beautiful. I felt Logan's eyes on me the entire night. I didn't look up at him once. Every time Jacob touched me, there was a low, menacing growl coming from his direction. What the hell was his problem? He was the one who rejected me. He was the one who was sitting there with his new mate and future Luna. Before they came to the diner, I told Amy and Jacob about me and Logan. They were shocked to hear that he had rejected me and that he had chosen Sienna as his mate. They knew all about her, and they were the only ones who believed me. She was a bitch to them as well, so it wasn't hard for them to believe that I was telling the truth about her. I want to kill her for doing that to your hand. Beautiful, Jacob said quietly. It's okay, Jake, I said. I will heal. No, it is not okay, Amy whined. She hurt you. Until now, she only used her words, but I am afraid of how far she is willing to go now. Amy is right, Jake nodded. She hates the fact that you are Logan's mate. I am afraid of what she could do. Maybe I could talk to Alpha and Beta. No, Jacob, I said and grabbed his hand. Promise me you won't do that. They won't believe you. Trust me. I've tried telling my brother about her more than once. He just doesn't want to believe that his friend is a bitch. Just let it go. It will be okay. I will be okay. She will forget about me once Logan marks her. I will no longer be a threat to her when that happens. Amy and Jake exchanged worried looks. Fine. Jacob sighed and put his arm around my shoulders. A louder growl came from Logan's booth. He immediately let go of me. Why did you have to be mated to an alpha? He asked, irritated. His energy alone is making it impossible for me to touch you. I have to submit, even to his growls. I don't want to lose an arm. I chuckled. I am sorry, Jacob. It will get better. When he marks Sienna, he will forget about me. I hope so, he said and gave me a warm smile. I smiled back and sighed. Well, I should go home. You didn't eat anything, Amy said. I'll eat at home, I said and smiled. That was a lie. I didn't have an appetite. If I ate something, I would throw it all up anyway. The three of us walked out of the diner, followed by an intense gaze. I sighed and rolled my eyes. For somebody who didn't want me as his mate, he sure stared a lot. Amy and Jacob hugged me goodbye, and I walked to my house. When I got inside, I immediately started walking upstairs. I was stopped abruptly when two large hands grabbed my waist and pulled me back. You are not locking yourself in your room again, Andrew growled in my ear. I was so lost in my thoughts that I didn't even hear him walking behind me. I don't want to talk to you, I said and tried to wiggle out of his grip. It was useless. He only tightened his grip and picked me up. He walked over to the couch and put me down on my feet. He grabbed my hand and pulled me down to sit on the couch. He sat beside me and tilted my chin so I would look at him. You are my sister, the only family I have, he growled at me. I am not letting another day go by without talking to you. I don't have anything to say, I said quietly. I am sorry, Emma, he said, cupping my face. I am so sorry. You think I am weak, I said quietly, and a tear rolled down my face. He looked down, ashamed. I told him you could get stronger. I think you are more than worthy of being a Luna, but he only sees the physical aspect of things. He doesn't see how strong you are in other aspects of life. I kept quiet. They didn't know that I have been training with Jacob. I was stronger than they thought I was. But me being covered in bruises and scrapes after training today didn't help my case. But it only happened because I didn't sleep. I was so tired. I still am. But it shouldn't matter. He should want me the way I am, physically weak or physically strong. It shouldn't matter. I knew I would be a great Luna. Too bad they didn't see it that way. I love you, Emma, he said when I didn't respond. You are the most important thing in my world. Please forgive me. I was thinking like a beta, not like a brother. But when it comes to the issues related to the pack, I have to think like that. I am really sorry. I knew that he and Logan had to think about the pack first. It was their job, their duty. My father would be proud of Andrew, but I think they at least should have given me a chance to prove myself. Especially Logan, he immediately assumed I wouldn't be good enough. But I couldn't stay mad at my brother forever. He was the only family I had. I love you too, Andrew, I said, and I understand you have to think about the pack. Dad would be proud of you. He wrapped me in a tight hug and kissed my cheek. Does that mean you won't lock yourself in your room anymore? He asked, still holding me tight. I chuckled and nodded. I won't. Good, he said, and let me go. Dinner and a movie. I shook my head. I am really tired. And I already ate. He narrowed his eyes at me. Did you? Yes. I lied. At the diner. Okay, he said, still suspicious. Tomorrow night then. I smiled and nodded. We got up, and I walked over to the stairs. Andrew kissed my forehead before going to the kitchen to make himself something to eat. I was always surprised by the amount of food he could eat. He literally just ate at the diner, and he was making himself something to eat again. I chuckled quietly and shook my head. I walked into my bathroom and hopped into the shower. Bruises and cuts were already healed, but my hand was still bruised. That bitch, Sienna, stepped on it pretty good. I finished showering and put on my pajamas. I got under the covers and closed my eyes. I hoped that I would get some sleep tonight. My wish didn't come true. I kept tossing and turning, and I couldn't sleep. Pain was burning through me, and I couldn't stop it. I looked at myself in the mirror and sighed. I look even paler than usual. My eyes are red and puffy from crying. I sighed and put on my sneakers. I had to hurry up or I would be late for my training session. Today was the day I would train with Jake as well, but I didn't think that I would be able to do that. I would just have to come up with an excuse. I walked downstairs to the kitchen to grab a glass of water. Before going to the training grounds, Sienna was sitting at the table. Alone. Shit. She looked up at me with a murderous look on her face. Why does she hate me so much? If you think that you will be taking Logan away from me, you are mistaken, she growled. I sighed and walked to the kitchen cabinet. I took a glass and filled it with water. Did you hear me, bitch? She asked. I turned around and sipped my water. I did. What did I tell you about disrespecting your Luna? She asked and got up. I already told you, I said, looking right into her eyes. You are not my Luna. She walked over to me. She was furious. She grabbed my wrist, digging her nails into my skin. Listen to me, you little bitch, she said quietly. Logan is mine. You will not take him away from me. Do you understand? I will kill you, and that is a promise. I forcefully pulled my arm away from her grip and gave myself deep scratches from her nails. I took a few steps back from her. I was furious. She has been nothing but mean to me my whole life, and now she has started to be physically abusive, threatening to kill me. I was done. You are such a fucking bitch, Sienna, I said loudly. At that moment, I heard the front door open, and my name being called. Emma! My brother yelled. Sienna gave me an evil smirk and made the saddest face she could. My brother and Logan walked into the kitchen. Both were glaring at me. Both were angry. Emma, my brother said strictly, what is going on? I was looking at him wide-eyed. I didn't know what to say. I knew that they wouldn't believe me. They obviously didn't hear what Sienna said. They would be looking at her with that expression. Not me. At least I hoped they would. I was just trying to talk to her about this whole mate thing, Sienna said with a teary voice. Apologize. Make sure there is no bad blood between us. We are sisters. I guess she is taking this really hard. She was such a good liar. I was actually impressed. I stared at her without saying a word. I didn't even know what to say. Emma, I know this is hard for you, Logan said, but you can't talk to your future Luna like that. I averted my gaze to him. When my eyes met his, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I felt tears coming, and I was not giving them the satisfaction of seeing me break in front of them. I immediately turned around and ran through the back door. Emma! My brother yelled after me. It is okay, Andrew. Let her go, Sienna said, faking sadness. She just needs a minute to calm down. My tears ran down my cheeks, and I didn't even try to stop them. She was slowly taking everything from me. My brother, my mate, my life. And nobody saw it. Nobody believed me. I suddenly wished for her to fulfill her promise of killing me. That would be easier than living with this pain. I arrived at the training grounds just in time for my session. I was in no shape to train. I haven't slept and haven't eaten anything since my birthday, 2 days ago. But I needed it. I needed the physical pain. After half an hour of training, my ribs got broken during a sparring with another she-wolf, Katie. I took a sharp breath and fell on my knees. Oh my goddess, Emma, Katie yelled and fell on her knees beside me. Are you okay? I am sorry. It is okay, Katie, I said, taking a few deep breaths. It is my fault. I got distracted. Amy and Jake came running over to me. Emmy, Amy yelled. What happened? I think her ribs are broken, Katie said, while helping Amy pull me back on my feet. I winced in pain, and before I knew it, 2 strong arms picked me up bridal style. Jake, I am fine. You don't have to carry me, I protested. Stop it, Emma, he growled. I am not letting you walk around with broken ribs. I quieted down and let him carry me to the pack doctor's office. Amy and Katie were walking behind us, both eyeing me with concern. When we arrived, Jake placed me down on the bed as gently as he could. The nurse told us that the doctor would be in soon, and left. She gave me a warm smile on her way out. Katie, would you mind waiting outside? Jake asked her. There is something Amy and I need to talk to Emma about. Of course, she said and smiled. She walked outside and closed the door. I looked at Jake. He was looking at me like a father looks at his child, when a child messed up pretty badly. What the hell happened out there, Emma? He growled. I sighed and winced. I was tired. I lost my focus. You never lose focus on a battlefield, Emma. He growled again. Never. Jake, calm down, Amy interfered. Let her explain. She looked at me with a questioning look on her face. They were not letting this go, were they? I sighed. I haven't slept since my birthday. Okay, I was tired, and she caught me off guard. Jake growled loudly. You should have never stepped foot on that training ground today. This could have ended up so much worse. I am sorry, Jake, I said quietly, staring down at my hands. He started pacing the room, running his hand through his hair. He was mad at me, but it was touching to see how much he cared about me. Amy ignored his outburst and took my hand in hers. How about you come over to my house tonight? Amy asked, smiling down at me. We could order a pizza, watch a movie, maybe even sleep. She winked at me, and I laughed before wincing. Shit, laughing hurt. Well, everything hurt when your ribs are broken. I really wanted to go. I needed a break from everything going on at my house. I didn't want to wake up tomorrow and see Sienna. especially now that I was a much slower target, and maybe I would be able to get some sleep after a relaxing night with my friend. Before I could answer, the door flung open, and my brother and Logan ran inside. When Emma ran away from the kitchen, I felt my heart clench painfully. "Go after her, you fucker," Leon growled. "Go after my mate! She insulted our future Luna." I growled back. "Sienna will never be my Luna." He yelled, and retreated to the back of my mind, cutting our link. I could feel how mad he was, but I ignored it. Andrew and Sienna came back inside and sat at the table. I joined them and looked at Andrew. He was worried. His eyebrows were furrowed, and he was staring down at his hands. "Don't worry, Andrew," Sienna said and placed her hand on his shoulder. "She will be okay. She just needs time to process all of this." Sienna was so kind and forgiving. She would be a great Luna. I was sure of that. I gave her a warm smile. "I am sorry, Sienna." Andrew sighed. "You didn't deserve that. I will talk to her." She squeezed his shoulder and smiled at him warmly. Andrew looked up at me, and his face got serious. He was in beta mode now. It was time to work. "So, Alpha Drake is coming the day after tomorrow?" he asked me. I nodded. "Yes, and we will be having a formal dinner. I want him to feel welcome in our pack and for his stay to be as pleasant as possible." "Who will be joining him?" Sienna asked. "His beta Josh and 5 warriors. They don't want any trouble on their trip," I said. "No Luna?" Andrew asked. I shook my head. "Number he still hasn't found his mate and refuses to take a chosen one. He was a year older than me and still had no mate." It was unusual for an alpha wolf to be mateless at our age, but we both wanted to wait for our true mate. We spent the next half an hour arranging their stay and talking about the formal dinner. Everything had to be done to perfection. My pack has a reputation, and I was keeping it. "When will the meeting take place?" Andrew asked. The main reason for Alpha Drake's visit was to tell me what he had found out about rogue attacks. I was planning on having the meeting with them the day after their arrival. I was just about to answer Andrew's question when a sharp pain struck my left side. I gasped and bent over. "Logan!" Andrew yelled and came rushing to me. Sienna stood up and came to my other side with a worried expression on her face. I looked down, expecting to see some sort of a sharp object lunged into me. But there was nothing. And then it hit me. It wasn't my pain. "Emma," I said quietly. "What?" Andrew asked, confused. "It's Emma," I said louder. "It is Emma's pain. Something is wrong." Andrew stood up immediately and ran through the back door, me following right behind him. He was running towards the training grounds. She must have been in a session. It only took us a few minutes to get there. Being an alpha and beta meant that we were faster and stronger than other wolves. I searched frantically for her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. One of my warriors noticed us and walked over. "Alpha, Beta," he said. "Can I help you?" "Yes," Andrew said quickly. "My sister Emma, where is she?" He looked between us. "She was taken to the hospital. She fractured her ribs while sparring with another she-wolf." I was running towards the pack doctor's office before the man finished speaking. I heard Andrew right behind me. I saw red. My mate was hurt. She was in pain. My mate needed me. Leon was howling and growling inside my head, and he wasn't helping one bit. I was shaking, and I needed to see her. I needed to know that she would be okay. Before I knew it, Andrew and I burst through the door. She was lying in bed. Her friend Amy was holding her hand, and Jacob was pacing the room. The 3 of them looked at us with wide eyes, both Andrew, and I walked over to her, and when I got closer, I could smell Jacob on her. Fuck. He probably carried her in here. That was my job. I was supposed to be the one who brought her here. I was supposed to be the one taking care of her. I clenched my fists and growled loudly. I had to use all my strength to control myself and not kill the fucker. He touched my mate. He should be dying right now. What happened, Em? Andrew asked her and took her other hand in his. She hadn't slept since her birthday, but still decided it was a good idea to fight. Jake answered before she could. Andrew and I looked at him with shocked expressions on our faces. She hasn't been sleeping. Before we could say anything to her, our pack doctor, Ren Adams, walked in. Alpha Logan, Beta Andrew, he said and smiled at us. Both Andrew and I gave him a short nod and looked at Emma frowning. Oh, she was going to hear from me after the checkup. And by the look on Andrew's face, she was in for a double lecture. Well, if it isn't my favorite little wolf, the doctor said with a big smile on his face. What happened, Emma? Sparing accident, she said quietly. Oh, I see many of those, the doctor said and lifted her shirt. A growl escaped me. He was touching my mate. The doctor ignored me completely and proceeded to remove Emma's shirt to look at her ribs. There was a huge bruise from her stomach to her back, and my heart hurt looking at it. I heard Andrew gasp at the sight. The doctor touched her, and she winced in pain. I growled loudly. I wanted to rip his arms out. No need for that, mate, the doctor said, not looking up at me. I am just doing my job. Shit. He knew. I tensed up, and I could see Andrew looking at me from the corner of his eye. Well, you are not being very subtle, man. Andrew, mind, linked me. I ignored him and continued to watch as the doctor checked my mate. Well, Emma, it seems that 2 of your ribs are broken, he said and pulled her shirt down carefully. You need to rest. Now that you have your wolf, it should heal in a day or 2, but I want you to rest. No activities of any sort. You can be sure of that, doctor, Andrew said, still frowning. The doctor gave Emma some painkillers and said goodbye to all of us. As soon as he left the room, I looked at my mate with a strict expression on my face. What the hell were you thinking, Emma? I growled. She was looking down at her hands and she was not answering me. I was going crazy. You could have been seriously hurt, Andrew said, frowning. Why didn't you tell me you hadn't been sleeping? I am fine, she said quietly. I growled loudly. 2 broken ribs is fine. She looked up at me and frowned. Beta Andrew, Amy said, and I turned to look at her. I asked Emma to come over to my house tonight. I will take care of her. Number, Andrew and I said at the same time. She is coming home with me, Andrew said. When she is better, she can stay with you, Amy. Amy nodded and looked down at her feet. Why? Emma asked, looking at her brother. I will be fine, Andrew. I said no, he said strictly. You are hurt, and I am not letting you out of my sight. She opened her mouth to argue, but Andrew beat her to it. Don't even try, he said. I am not changing my mind. She sighed and started getting up. She winced in pain and laid back down. I will carry you home, Emmy, Jacob said, and started walking toward her bed. I growled loudly, startling everyone. Don't touch her, I said, glaring daggers at Jacob. Logan. Andrew started to speak, but I raised my hand, stopping him. I will carry her, I said in my alpha tone. All of them lowered their heads in submission. They can't go against my alpha command. I walked over to the bed and took Emma in my arms. Goddess, she fit perfectly. The tingles and sparks I felt were addicting. I never wanted to stop feeling this way. Goddess, I wanted this woman, but I couldn't have her. I needed to think about my pack. Her scent was mixed with Jacob's, and Leon was going crazy inside my head. I was not doing well either. I wanted to rub myself all over her. I wanted to make my scent the only one on her. I wanted to let them know who she belonged to. I walked out of the doctor's office. Everyone else was following behind me. I kept looking down at Emma, but she didn't look up at me once. She kept her gaze down on her hands. "Goodbye, Emmy," Jacob said when we walked outside. "I will call you later." I growled. "Bye, Jake," she said with a big smile. I wanted her to smile like that at me. "You tossed that opportunity away." Leon growled at me. I ignored him and waited for Amy to say goodbye to Emma. When she did, I started walking toward their house. Andrew was right beside me the whole time. He kept glancing at Emma, but she didn't look up at either of us the entire time. While I was walking, I couldn't help but notice how light Emma was. Is she eating enough? A few minutes later, we reached their house. We should have taken the car, but both Andrew and I ran toward the training grounds without thinking. Sienna was inside, waiting for us. As soon as we walked inside, she ran toward me. "Oh my goddess, Emma," she said with tears in her eyes. "What happened?" Emma didn't respond. She didn't even look at her. She kept her gaze on her hands, but I saw she was grinding her teeth together. "She had an accident while sparring," Andrew answered instead of her. "She has 2 broken ribs." "Oh, Sienna said. "Don't worry, we will take care of you," Emma said and raised her head to look at Sienna. "You won't be taking care of me, Sienna. I can take care of myself." "Emma." I started to speak, but she cut me off. "Take me upstairs, Logan," she said, not looking up at me. I clenched my jaw, but did as she said. I walked upstairs to her room and placed her on the bed. Her scent here was amazing. I could breathe it in forever, and it wouldn't be enough. When Andrew entered the room, she began to get up. "What are you doing?" I asked, and grabbed her. "I want to take a shower," she said, pulling away from me. "Oh, please, baby, don't pull away from me." I needed to calm down. I nodded, and Andrew walked to her closet to grab her a few things. "Take a shower, and I will make you something to eat," he said, looking at her strictly. "I know you have been lying about eating as well." "When is the last time you ate?" I asked. No wonder she was so light. She hadn't been eating. She looked at us and sighed. "My birthday. That was 2 days ago." She hadn't slept or eaten for 2 fucking days, and she decided it was a good idea to train. "Goddess, this woman, I will bring you something to eat, and I will watch you until you finish the entire thing." Andrew growled at her. She didn't say anything. She took her clothes from Andrew and walked slowly to her bathroom. Andrew and I went back downstairs. I breathed in her scent as much as I could. I will never have enough of it. Sienna was waiting for us downstairs. She looked sad and angry. "What's wrong?" I asked her as soon as we entered the kitchen. Andrew started to make lunch for Emma. He glanced at Sienna, but didn't say a word. "I am really sad about what happened to Emma," she said. "But I am mad at you, Logan." I raised my eyebrows. "Why? She isn't your mate anymore," she said angrily. "You rejected her and chose me. You left me here and went running to her, and then you came back in here with her in your arms. How do you think I feel?" "She is hurt," I growled at her. "What was I supposed to do? She has a brother," she yelled and pointed at Andrew. "You could have let him go to her. Let him carry her." I clenched my fists. I wasn't going to let another male hold my mate when she was hurt. Brother or not, it wasn't happening. Sienna wouldn't understand. She was jealous of Emma. She loved her. But Emma being my mate and being so close to me was making Sienna insecure. What could I say to make it better? Could I say it was just the mate bond? Sienna, I did choose you, I said through my teeth, but she is hurt. And the mate bond made me go to her. Andrew tensed up at my words. But he didn't turn around or say anything. She sighed and sat down. I can't wait for you to mark me, Logan. You won't feel the pull toward her then. I tensed up. I didn't want that. Goddess, this was the most difficult thing I'd ever had to do and will ever have to do. Leon was growling and whining inside my head. My heart hurt. My whole body was in pain. I just wanted that girl upstairs, but I had to do what was best for my pack. So I smiled forcefully at Sienna and gave her a little nod. When I got out of the shower, I could hear Sienna yelling at Logan. She was telling him that he should have left Andrew to take care of me. I couldn't hear what he said to her, but I didn't even want to. I shut them out completely. He was confusing the hell out of me. First, he rejected me, and then he was all jealous and growling at Jake. What was his plan anyway? Did he want to take Sienna as his mate and make me be alone forever because he couldn't stand to see another man around me? The most terrifying thing was that he could actually do that. Nobody could go against Alpha Command. He could just order every male wolf to stay away from me, and they would have to obey him. I got dressed as carefully as I could. Pain was consuming my entire body. I didn't even know if it is physical or emotional anymore. I sat down on my bed and leaned on the headboard. I heard the front door open and close, and I prayed to the goddess that Logan and Sienna left. A few minutes later, I heard Andrew climbing up the stairs and walking to my room. He opened the door, and I saw that he was carrying the food tray. He brought me soup, steak, and vegetables. My stomach twisted inside me. I couldn't eat. Andrew placed the tray on my lap and gave me a stern look. Eat, he said, and sat down next to me. I slowly picked up a spoon and started eating the soup. My belly disagreed immediately. I frowned and stopped eating. What are you doing? Andrew growled. I am sick, I said quietly. Of course you are, he sighed. You haven't eaten anything since your birthday. Your belly is shocked that you are finally eating. Well, let's not shock my belly even more, I said, and pushed the food tray away. Andrew growled loudly and pushed the tray back. You will eat, Emma. Don't push me. You need to take a painkiller, and I am not giving you one on an empty stomach. I sighed and picked the spoon back up. I ate about a half of what Andrew brought up for me, and after convincing him I was full and would burst if he made me eat more. He finally moved the food tray away. He gave me a painkiller and a glass of water. Why didn't you tell me you were having trouble sleeping? He asked me, taking the cup away and placing it on my nightstand. I shrugged. I don't know. You should have told me, he said. I looked at him and sighed. I didn't see how he could have helped me. Emma, you are all that I have in this world, he said seriously, no matter what is going on between us. You can always come to me with any problem that you are having. You are my sister, and it is my job and my privilege to take care of you. Why don't you believe me about Sienna? I asked him and looked down at my hands. I didn't care if he got angry. I didn't care if he yelled at me. I had to know. I had to know why she was so important that he always dismissed what I told him about her. It couldn't be just because he thought that I was jealous of their relationship. I was his sister, his family. I should come first, right? I know she was his childhood friend, and he was having a hard time believing she could be like that. But shouldn't he believe me just a little? Again, Emma? He asked with annoyance in his voice. How do you expect me to come to you with my problems when you don't listen to me when I tell you about her? I asked and looked up at him. He sighed and ran his hand through his hair. I just can't believe that what you told me about her is true, he said. I've known her my whole life. I would have noticed something, Emma. She is very good at hiding it. I said quietly. Look, I know I spend a lot of time with her, he said, and took my hand in his, but she can't ever take your place. Just because I spend more time with her doesn't mean she is more important to me. It is because we grew up together and she is closer to my age. Here we go with the jealousy again. I knew that he would say that. I wasn't worried about her taking my place. I was worried about her taking my life away. I pulled my hand away from his and crossed my arms over my chest. He sighed and put his hand on my thigh. She loves you very much, and give her a chance. I know that this whole thing with Logan complicates things even more, but it is not her fault. Logan made his decision. She will be a great Luna, and you will always be able to count on her. We all will. She is getting sloppy, Andrew, I said, looking right at him. You will soon see that I am right. I just hoped that I wouldn't have to pay with my life before he did. He sighed and shook his head. You are tired. Let's just go to sleep, okay? He got up and walked out of my room. I leaned my head on the headboard and sighed. No matter what I said, he would never believe me. He would always choose her. Logan already did. Andrew came back into my room wearing short sweats. He closed the door and climbed in beside me. What are you doing? I asked. I am sleeping here, he said, just like when Mom and Dad died, and you couldn't sleep without me. He was right. I had nightmares after they died. I couldn't and wouldn't sleep without him here. It lasted for about a year. The difference was that back then I wanted him here. Now I didn't. You don't have to do that, I said. Get under the covers, Emma, he said, and turned off the lamp on the nightstand. It wasn't really that late. It was only 7 p.m. But being December, it was already dark outside, and as soon as he turned the lamp off, my room was completely dark. Don't you have beta business to do? I asked. It is still early. Logan gave me a day off to take care of you, he answered. Get under the covers and sleep. I sighed and did as he told me. I carefully pulled the covers over my body and tried to get comfortable. The painkiller I took was starting to make me numb, and it helped. Andrew took my hand in his and came closer to me. He always used to do that when I was little. I couldn't sleep without his hand in mine. I love you, Em, he said. I love you too, I whispered, and let sleep take me. I woke up around 8 a.m. I had to be really tired if I slept over 12 hours. The space next to me was empty. Andrew has probably gone to the pack house already. My ribs were already hurting less. Being a wolf, sure, was great. I would be as good as new tomorrow. I sat up carefully and noticed a note on my nightstand. Link me when you wake up. I always forgot about mind linking. I wasn't used to it yet. But it was very handy. Andrew. I opened our mind link. Em, how are you? He answered immediately. Good. Better already. Where are you? West Border, he said. Pack stuff. Is it rogues again? I asked, slightly concerned. Yes, he said, but don't worry. It is under control. Okay. Be careful. I will, Em. Eat something. We will be home soon, he said, and closed our link. I sighed and carefully got out of bed. I walked to my bathroom and did my morning business. I brushed my teeth and took a quick shower. When I came back to my bedroom, Sienna was leaning on my desk with an evil smirk on her face. Shit! How does it feel to be helpless, little mouse? She asked. What do you want, Sienna? I asked angrily. I want you to stay away from Logan. Bitch, she said, and walked over to me. I backed away from her until I hit a wall. He is the one who came to me yesterday, I said. I didn't call for him. I don't care, she said, growling. Stay away. Why don't you tell him to stay away from me? I asked and instantly regretted it. She ran the rest of the distance to me and grabbed the left side of my torso. She squeezed, and I screamed in pain. "I told you not to disrespect your Luna," she growled. "You never listen." She grabbed my hair with her other hand and lifted my face so I could look at her. I felt tears running down my cheeks. My ribs were screaming in pain, and my breathing is uneven and fast. "You will not be in my way for long, Emma," she said quietly. "I have a perfect plan for you, and I can't wait for it to happen." She let go of me, and I crumbled on the floor. I sobbed quietly and tried to breathe deeply so the pain would go away. She was going to kill me soon. What should I do? Whom should I tell? Jake and Amy, but I didn't want her to hurt them. Jake would go after her, and she could hurt him. I couldn't risk that. I couldn't be responsible for that. My mind was a total mess, and I didn't even notice that someone was screaming my name inside my head. I tried to focus on the voice, and I noticed Andrew and Logan trying to link me. I focused on my brother, Andrew. "Emma!" he yelled. "Goddess Emma, what the hell happened? Logan can feel your pain." He was screaming, and my head was hurting badly. "It is okay." I slipped and hit the desk in my room. "It hurts, but I will be okay," I said, trying to sound calm. I was scared shitless. "Why didn't you answer our link immediately?" he growled. "The fall kind of shocked me. And I am still getting used to mind linking. I didn't even notice you were trying to talk to me," I said. "Okay. I will be home soon. Stay in bed and talk to Logan. Just to tell him you are fine. He is driving me crazy," he said, and closed our link. I sighed and opened my link with Logan. "Alpha," I said. "Goddess Emma," he yelled. "That fucking hurt. Are you okay? Andrew told me what happened. And why are you calling me Alpha, Goddess?" His voice was like a melody. As soon as I heard his voice, my ribs started hurting less. "I am okay. Thank you for checking up on me, Alpha," I said, trying to keep it formal. "To you, Emma, I am and always will be Logan," he said. I cut our mind link. I couldn't bear to hear his voice in my head anymore. It hurt my heart too much. I got off the floor slowly. My ribs felt better this morning, but now they hurt even more than yesterday. Maybe she broke them again. I walked to my desk, where Andrew had left my painkillers, and took 2 pills from the bottle. I took a cup from my nightstand and went to the bathroom to fill it with water. After I took the pills, I laid down on my bed and closed my eyes. Maybe I could sleep again. There was no way that I was going downstairs. That bitch was probably still here, and I didn't need her to attack me again. A few minutes later, I heard the front door open and close. 2 sets of heavy footsteps walked upstairs and into my room. I opened my eyes and saw a worried Andrew and Logan standing in front of me. Andrew walked over and sat next to me. "Let me see," he said, and pulled my shirt up. Logan growled when he touched me. "Really? Even my brother?" I didn't even look up at him, and Andrew ignored his growl. "Shit, it is bruising again," he said. "When I checked you this morning, the bruise was mostly gone. We should take her to the clinic," Logan said. I looked up at him. "I am fine. It will heal again." "Why did you get up?" Andrew asked me and pulled my shirt down. "You should have waited for me." "I had to go to the bathroom," I said. "It was an accident. It won't happen again." Andrew and Logan frowned at me. "Do you think you will be able to attend a formal dinner tomorrow night?" Logan changed the subject. "Yes, I should be okay by then." I nodded. "Who is coming?" "Alpha Drake of the Blood Moon Pack," Logan said. "As Beta's sister, you should be there. But maybe you should rest." Number. I shook my head. I will go. I will be fine. Logan nodded and turned to Andrew. Stay in today, he said. Take care of her. If I need you, I will link you. Are you sure? Andrew asked. Yes, Logan nodded. She is more important than work right now. If anything comes up and I need your help, I will link. Don't worry. Thanks, man, Andrew said. Logan started walking to the door. He turned to look at me before he left. If you need me, link me please, Emma, he said. I will see you tomorrow. I nodded. Goodbye, Alpha. He looked at me with a sad expression. It's Logan. I didn't respond. He sighed and walked out of my room. Andrew walked out behind him, and I heard them talking about the dinner with Alpha Drake before Logan walked out of our house. I sighed and closed my eyes.